we are with Representative Alicia Rule from the 42nd District. This is the first time that we're doing this video interview, so thank you very much for joining us. And I want to ask you about how can people participate remotely into the legislature this year?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I actually really love that we're moving toward having people have access to testifying in committees and having access to the process from home. It's pretty convenient that you don't have to drive to Olympia anymore to be able to do this testimony. That's how we hear from you. We hear from folks who are sitting in their living room on their computers, being able to tell us, how to do our policy. And that's something that I know before I was in the legislature, I came down to Olympia quite a bit to testify, and it's exhausting. You have to take time off work. It's expensive. You pay for gas. All of those things make it really hard and inaccessible to everybody. But in this way, doing it from your own home, you can make your voice heard, and we get to hear from you, and it's equal access to everyone.
Now, in your district, there have been horrible floods, and I understand that you actually introduced a bill to address this issue.
Yeah, the flooding in our district is hard to explain. When I went to visit, I saw what really looked like full rivers running through people's living rooms, enough to knock over a refrigerator, and items that were on top of the refrigerator ended up 2 rooms over. Not only their homes, but we also are seeing the impacts on our local businesses. We have losses that are hard to categorize and hard to remember that there are so many places that have been impacted, because really it's everything. So, for example, our small businesses, I just spoke with a restaurant owner the other day, and she said, to help you understand what I'm dealing with, there's a railroad tie in the middle of my dining room. And I thought for me, it just really hit home at how big of, not only that it's just dollar damage, but the kind of emotional toll that this takes. So one of the bills that I've introduced this session is direct relief to small business owners, so that somebody like that restaurant owner can have the relief that they need to continue to pay payroll while they start cleaning this up, as well as just being able to replace some of that income that they're losing from all of the business that they're losing during this time. It's bad enough that COVID hit and impacted our restaurants especially, but all of our small businesses so hard. We have the border closed, that's even harder. But on top of that, to have this flood run through multiple towns is almost unimaginable. The other thing that I'm working on is I just also introduced a bill that's direct relief to our farmers. Our farmers produce our food, and they have water and manure that needs to be removed from their farms in order to function. And that is a lot of work. You can imagine what that it all entails. So there are multiple things that they need to do to be able to be back up and running. And there are some spaces that other government entities are not able to get to, that the state really needs to step in. And I'm looking really for all those opportunities, including that bill, to be able to meet those needs for our farmers who produce our food.
Shifting gears a little bit, but staying with the economy, you also introduced a bill with a colleague of yours about a tax holiday. So first tell us what that is, and then talk to us about the bill.
Well, I'm really glad that you asked about that one, because as a mom of 3 boys, I'm really excited about the idea of a tax holiday right about the time that it's back to school. It has been challenging for all of us to be able to pay the bills. The cost of gas, the cost of a loaf of bread, those basic things that we have to pay for, all of it has gone up. So I thought this was just one way that we might be able to give folks a break when they need it the most. It's also a really great way to support our small local businesses. They need the business. They have been, really struggling through this COVID period and trying to come out with a recovery that works, particularly in lieu of, closed border, flooding, and a pandemic. This is a way that we can bring those dollars and keep those dollars home, shop local, support our local small businesses, those neighbors and friends who own shops, while at the same time getting a break that we need to be able to provide for our families.